You're listening to Texas Real Estate with Todd Tramonte, brought to you by the Patrick Glaros Mortgage Team, DP Lambert at Goose Insurance, and Stryker Roofing. And now your host, real estate broker, team leader, best-selling author, coach, consultant, and speaker, Todd Tramonte.
Welcome, folks. Welcome to Texas Real Estate. We will be talking all things residential real estate across the great state of Texas, with a special emphasis today on the unbelievable opportunities that exist in the Dallas-Fort Worth market right now. Unbelievable opportunities that exist in the Dallas-Fort Worth market right now. Don't believe the garbage headlines that tell you that the market is slowing. Don't believe the fall-winter stereotypical brainless drabble that tells you this is not a good time to buy and sell. And don't believe the 500 real estate agents that have told you for the last 20 years that spring and summer is when everything happens. It's all garbage. It's all garbage. There are reasons to believe some of those things some of the time, but there are many more reasons, especially right now, 2020, to believe that there is tremendous, I mean tremendous opportunity to buy, sell, and invest in this market right now. We'll get into it as we make our way through the show. If you've got questions, track me down on social media at Todd Tramonte or at Todd Tramonte Realtors. You can find all of our recommended pros, or you could send questions to the radio show website at treradio.com. TRE is short for Texas Real Estate. treradio.com. You'll find Patrick Glaros, DP Lambert, Stryker Roofing, Fine Point Homes, Reinhardt Service Company, a bunch of our recommended pros and folks that we have been introducing to our friends and clients for a long time. Check it all out at treradio.com. Now, we're going to make our way through the show today with your questions primarily. A lot of them have already come in throughout the week. We do have a full house here in the studio. We've got the English wonder, Yanni Donnie, Ian Daniels in the house, and we'll ask him the question you're all waiting with bated breath for, Ian. Bated
breath. Spelled
B-A-T-E-D, bated. How English are you going to be today?
We've been in Florida recently, and so feeling quite American. However, also been around a lot of Middlesbrough folk recently via Zoom on some little fun stuff we've got going on, and so I'm sure everybody needs and wants to know that Middlesbrough are still not doing great. A lot of draws, better than expected though, but not great.
Real quick, Ian, you've been on the team, 5 years now?
5 years.
So I've been a Middlesbrough fan for about 5 years, and I'll just say this seems to be the way it goes as a Middlesbrough fan.
There hasn't been a whole lot of successes while I've been on the team. We did have that 1 year when we got promoted and went to the Premier League and then went straight back down again, finishing in last place.
Just to see what it's like. Yep. And that, folks, is your Middlesbrough Minute. That's your soccer second. Here we go. We've also got the young MG, producer extraordinaire of all things audio and visual, Mason Goss. Woo! There it is.
Yes.
We got some new drops, Todd.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Thanks for having me.
We moved on from Lil Jon. Now we've got
Ric
Flair. Talked a little bit about getting some Macho Man Randy Savage in there.
Woo! I don't think we've moved on from Lil Jon.
Yeah! That's right.
That's right.
Still with us. All right, folks. Full studio here today for your listening pleasure. We're here to take your questions. You can track me down on social media. Like I said, easiest one is just Facebook at Todd Tramonte. Find us there. You can find Todd Tramonte Home Selling Team. You can find Texas Real Estate with Todd Tramonte. We don't really care how you find us. If you send us a question, we'll try to get it on the air or try to connect with you off the air throughout the week and make sure we take care of your real estate needs. If you ever do need a real estate agent or broker, what we do all week, every week, is we run the Todd Tramonte Home Selling Team, and you can find us online at overunderagent.com because we do guarantee to sell your home over the average price and under the average time. To be honest, I had a little bit of a problem this week working on some of our marketing stuff. The results that our agents are getting right now are so awesome. It is so much fun to be a part of this team. The results are so much over and above the average agent right now that it's starting to sound a little bit unbelievable. And we're having to be very careful with how we put that message out, whether it be radio or email or social media or local marketing, because we always want to stay in a trusting relationship with our friends, our neighbors, our listeners, our past clients. And at some point, if I tell you that John sold a house for 34% over market value, it starts to sound a little silly. It starts to sound ridiculous and unbelievable, but I really don't know any other way than to tell you that is what's happening right now. At the Todd Tramonte Home Selling Team, our marketing specialists, the guys that work with our seller clients, are breaking records and leaving them so far in the dust it's not even funny. Our buyer specialists, David, Mari, Leah, are putting together buyer transactions that don't make sense for this market, because right now buyers are having to compete left and right. It is a harder market to be a buyer, but they are putting together deals that are so fantastic for our buyers that it's a lot of fun.
Let's also add in Brandon and Ryan there, or else they're going to get upset.
Well, I was just hoping we'd bug them a little bit. Brandon and Ryan are also helping buyers all over the the Dallas side of the Metroplex as well. Offices in Fort Worth and Dallas. So excited to be with you today. If you got questions, send them in. This first segment is brought to you by Patrick Glaros and his team over at Cardinal Financial. Ian's in the process of closing on a investment property right now. Patrick's been taking great care of you.
Amazing.
All right, patrickglaros.com. Let's get into it. We got any questions?
We sure do. But as always, if you're interested in knowing what the value of your home is, head over to valuethishouse.com, get your home valuation, see what it's worth, see what it would rent for in less than 60 seconds. Valuethishouse.com. All right, let's start. Look, last time we focused a lot on buyers, on what it's like to buy a property right now. Today we're going to focus a lot on selling a home, what it looks like to get ready and get ready to sell it. How long is ideal to be able to get ready to sell a home? Like how much lead time does somebody really need to give themselves?
Well, it's a little bit of a trickier question, because the more the merrier, right? But at some point, you don't need 5 years to get ready to sell. But there are people who, let's say your youngest child is a freshman in college. Well, they're starting to get their ducks in a row and for them to graduate and move out. That's not unreasonable. But typically, if we meet with someone and we choose to do business with them and they've chosen to do business with us, we need a couple of weeks, right? We can get it done in 8 or 9 days. It's really not wise to do it much faster than that, because we have our 7-step proprietary process. It's proven to sell homes and break records, way over the average price, way under the average time. But our hands are tied a little bit when people need to get that thrown together in 2 or 3 days. Sometimes we can get that done if we can schedule all of our marketing vendors and partners and things like that. But I'd say probably 10 days is a good window. 2 weeks is ideal.
Okay. Now, a lot of times people want to know, hey, is there something I can do in the home to improve the value, right? Or one of the things that I also think is incredibly valuable for sellers is for us to go and tell them some of the things to not do.
Right.
Don't waste your money on this. How do people know what to improve? What are the best ways to start? How can they go about just kind of gathering that information?
Well, the truth is most people don't know. Right. You watch HGTV, so you've got a decent idea that kitchens and bathrooms are a big deal. And then after that, people make a lot of mistakes. And you're right. A lot of the mistakes are that folks are doing work, spending money that isn't really going to help them. And then they're not doing the work and not spending the money on things that will make a big difference.
What are some of the main things that people do that they shouldn't be doing?
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is people are doing things to their personal taste, right? So they'd say, look, for years and years and years, we wanted to replace that tile. And so they go put brand new tile on the hall bathroom before a property goes on the market. And it's not I hate to say this, but it's not on trend, right? It's not in line with what buyers are looking for right now. It's what they have wanted in their home for the last 8, 9, 10, 12 years. It's not what buyers are responding to right now. Other things are, there might be some sheetrock work in a 5th bedroom somewhere, but they're not seeing something simple like the front door and the baseboards and the trim in the main living areas, which, although that sheetrock work is important, if you're prioritizing a list, it's way down the list, right? It's not something that buyers are going to make a yes or no buying decision based on. They overlook outdoor front yard landscaping, and they're fixing, a 2x4 in the garage. You're like, okay, it's just, that's not as motivating to a buyer. So Those are somewhat obvious examples. A lot of times people are repairing infrastructure, heating, air conditioning, plumbing, which you don't want to have that stuff busted, but a buyer doesn't get to see and feel and experience that early on in the process when they're making their buying decision and their value decision, right?
Yep.
So it's a longer explanation beyond that. If you're thinking that, then just go to overunderagent.com and we'll connect you with one of our specialists and help you decide on your personal situation. But when you think about adding value, we've got dozens of videos on our YouTube channel talking about low cost ways to add value, high cost ways to add value, and everything in between. You can head over to tthst.tv. TTHST is short for Todd Tramonte Home Selling Team. That's what we do all week, every week, all year, every year. Just go to tthst.tv. You get to see some of producer Mason's work throughout the week, and a lot of me staring at the camera and talking with graphs and charts and things, but really walking you through some really great tips and tricks on how to increase your property value in some simple, low-cost ways.
I know when my wife and I were looking to sell our first home back in, oh man, what was that? 2012?
6 years ago, 5-6 years
something
ago.
like 2000, whatever that was. But you came over and just visited with us at that time, and it was probably 3 months before we were planning on, actually wanting to sell it, and just gave us some, ideas and things to improve upon, and I think we did all of them.
Yep.
And that's something that we're happy to do for folks, right?
Yep. I remember standing in your kitchen talking about your vent hood, and then over by the bar in the main living area, there's some wood floor questions. We call this a pre-sale consultation, right? Primarily, the best first meeting is in the office, right? We want our clients and potential clients to get to see the tools, resources, and people that we work with. We also want them to sit in sort of a neutral professional environment without all the distractions of the laundry and dinner and kids' practices and things like that, and make a really good sound decision so that we can put a great plan together. Then we'll usually come out to the house, but we also are willing to come out and do a pre-sale consultation at the house, like Ian's talking about, where the discussion is more about what do we need to do so that a buyer doesn't choose not to buy, and then what can we do, optional can we do, so that a buyer will want to and be excited to pay more and do so more quickly. And that's really powerful.
I get asked this every week from somebody, but is there a cost for that? Are we going to charge somebody to come and do that?
$10,000. No, we do not charge for that. Now, I say that jokingly because we probably should. It's a tremendously valuable exchange of expertise and information and relationship building. But no, that is part of the process. If somebody's working with us, if they've hired us to be their real estate agent of choice, to be their advisor, their leader, their guide, their counselor through the selling or buying process, things like that are simply part of the package. It's part of the process.
You briefly mentioned in the list of things that people should be doing that they sometimes don't, a little bit on landscaping there. So let's get into a little bit more detail on landscaping. What makes sense to improve? What does not make sense to improve? The value of curb appeal. And then something that I think would be interesting is to discuss through whether it makes more sense to focus on the curb appeal front yard or the backyard where people are going to be spending their time if people could only pick one.
Yeah, and we've done whole shows on outdoor living in the backyard and things. Real quick, this next segment is brought to you by the guys over at Stryker Roofing. Roofs matter. They do. They cover all of the things. They cover the structure. They cover your belongings. A little leak can turn into a big leak. A windstorm can turn into a leak. A hailstorm can turn into big problems. If you haven't had a professional roofer that you trust up on your roof or had a weather report done on your property in the last couple of years, then you need to reach out to Stryker Roofing. I trust them. They've done roof work on my house. That's who I would trust to do roof work on your house. Head over to Stryker Builds, BUILDS, StrykerBuilds.com. Or, of course, you're always welcome to go to our website, overunderagent.com, grab their info, or we'd be happy to connect you ourselves. But check out StrykerBuilds.com. And I bring up roofs because that's actually one thing that buyers tend to overlook, but can really get a deal caught up in the middle. So we can talk more about that later. But as far as landscaping, front yard versus backyard, if you're a seller, the front yard is essential. Because if the front looks bad when they drive up, it's going to consciously or subconsciously affect the way they think about your house for the rest of the time they evaluate it, right? If they drive up, jump out of the car and get one of those kind of feelings, just meh, then unfortunately your highest highs are going to get rounded down to meh, right? And your lowest lows are at their best going to start there, right? So that's not a good starting point. It's better than gross or disgusting, but you might spend $100 or just a couple of hours out there cleaning it up or have someone else do that. And now the drive up, the first impression is, okay, pretty cool. You know, it's as nice as I thought it was. It's nicer. It looks a little bit better than some of the neighbors. This is nicer than a few of the ones we've looked at. If you've done that, now that backyard work might get an extra, ounce of value, right? The outdoor living space, the backyard landscaping is once someone has decided, I think we could see ourselves living here. They've seen the front, they've been through the house. Now they've decided, let's go ahead and check out the back because we're really considering this house. That could put somebody over the edge. But if the front yard doesn't look great and the inside doesn't look great, most buyers never even look at the backyard. By then they've just decided, man, this probably isn't it. Let's not waste our time. They don't even open the back door.
It's good. Look, next time I've got a challenge for everybody. Next time you're watching a football game or doing something where you have a little bit of a break, I want you to spend that 60 seconds and I want you to go to valuethishouse.com and get your home valuation. So that's all it's going to take, less than 60 seconds. That's less than a commercial break of something. Less than 60 seconds. Valuethishouse.com. See what your house is going to be worth. See what it might rent for. If you haven't done that this year, you absolutely need to. A normal year, you need to be doing this twice a year, once in the summer, once in the winter. This is not a normal year. We all know that. Hashtag 2020. You need to go to valuethishouse.com and get that home valuation. On the landscaping piece of it, Todd, when somebody's looking at whether to, what to improve and how to do that, you mentioned kind of that just whole feeling.
Yep.
Something that I know that you've trained on and that we teach our agents on is buyers and a lot of times are seeing so many different houses that they end up giving each one a nickname, right?
Yep.
So you want to try and avoid being a negative nickname and you want to be a positive nickname. So if you can be the beautiful curb appeal house as opposed to the dead tree house, then you want to make sure that that's happening.
Well, and I was a psychology major twice in college, still didn't end up with that degree. But I love the way the brain works, and I love marketing, and a lot of that is human psychology. And so we pay attention.
I feel like I need to say congratulations. I don't know why.
I don't know why either. I'm not really proud of that. To be honest, this stuff matters, and we pay attention to what buyers respond to and sellers are do and don't do. And the human nature typically starts with the negative and moves to the positive, right? So if a buyer is going to look at 5 houses, they're basically, whether they know it or not, running through a process of elimination, right? Well, there's no way we would buy that one. Maybe we would do the pink tile house if it's cheap enough to replace the tile. We might do the stinky game room house if we can get that smell out. We might do the no landscaping house if we could add landscape. You know what I mean? That's kind of how they work their way down. Ian's point, which is accurate, is if you can be labeled in a positive way, like, we might consider the stinky game room house if we can get rid of the stinkiness, but the huge master house would be awesome.
Yeah.
Right? The brand new kitchen house would be amazing. Right? The hot tub house would be great. Right?
Well, I remember the house that we sold, we had done a lot of upgrades to it over time, but we had the original 1980s oven still in there. And I just remember you telling us, you need to change it out. It's a relatively cheap fix, but for everything you've done, if somebody walks in right now, all they're going to think of is, I need to change the oven out. It's the old oven house.
Yep. And in their mind, they'll exaggerate the cost and the time and the energy and the stress of all of that. So, yes. In regard to landscaping, though, most of these issues are pretty simple, right? Yep. Get rid of the weeds, water the grass, add some flowers right by the front door so that your eyes are drawn to the door and your brain is telling your body, let's go over there. Let's go in there. I want to go in there. That sounds super crazy, but it's totally legit. Trust me, it's true. Hey, if you haven't checked your insurance lately, you might be able to save some real money with DP Lambert over at Goosehead Insurance with your home and auto insurance. We purchased another vehicle and added some insurance. Super easy with him. Saved money over all the people I shopped with. And yes, I do still shop from time to time. I totally trust DP. He's my guy no matter what. I want to make sure I'm doing what's best for my family. I basically trust him to do that shopping for me, and he does a great job. Just saved us, probably on just this other policy, probably $250 this year. So DP Lambert at Goosehead Insurance. You can email him, dp.lambert@goosehead.com, dp.lambert@goosehead.com, or you can call or text him at 214-838-5684. And if you ever forget the information for one of our recommended pros, just head over to our website, treradio.com.
I love a teaser. And in the second half of the show, no exaggeration, we're going to share a story of something that an agent on our team has never, ever experienced before. It's something brand new that they've never, ever come across.
If you're a WBAP listener for more than our show, you've probably heard Chris Croc's show at night, right? And I go on his show with him every once in a while, and his favorite thing to do is say, tell me something crazy that happened, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, man, sometimes I start to think I've seen it all. And then you quickly hear one of these stories and you're like, nope, I have not seen it all.
Yes.
So we'll have one of those for you in the second half. But before we do that, one trend that's happening big time right now are folks that were thinking about selling and have decided to stay and remodel. If that's something that you're thinking about right now, reach out to us. We would be happy to talk to you about what repairs are going to add value to your home. What repairs could be done much more affordably than you may know. And of course, we'd be happy to connect you with some great contractors. As a matter of fact, one that we're really proud to introduce people to right now is Fine Point Homes over in the Fort Worth area, especially. If you're thinking about a kitchen or a bathroom remodel, Fine Point is awesome. Check them out, finepointhomes.com. Alan over there is very particular, meticulous, does really good work, will take great care of you. But no matter where you are in the Metroplex, if you need work on your house done, reach out to us. Whether you're selling or buying or doing none of the above, you're just wanting to improve your property, we would be happy to add value for you. You can call us or text us at 214-310-0008, or you can go online to overunderagent.com. Listen, I'm going to say this carefully and slowly because I know it's a little bit strange, but we guarantee to sell your home over the average price, meaning more than other homes like yours are selling for, and under the average time. Much faster. Yes, Little John, you're so right about that. It's exciting. Over the average price and under the average time. Both over the average price and under the average time. What? Yes, over the average price and under the average time. It's right now we're averaging about 9% over the average price. If you're in an area where homes are about $300,000, that's $27,000 real dollars that you should walk away with more than your neighbors with similar homes, with the difference being the agent or broker that marketed that home. And we're doing it in about 10 times the normal time on market. 10 times faster, right? If 40 is normal, we're doing it in about 4 days. We'll be right back with more Texas Real Estate on WBAP.
Welcome back to Texas Real Estate with your host, real estate expert, team leader, and best-selling author, Todd Tramonte.
Yo, 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 welcome back. This segment's brought to you by the guys over at Stryker Roofing for all your roofing needs at strykerbuilds.com. When we went to the break, we were talking about sellers and the incredible opportunity that exists right now in the market for sellers. It's a great time to buy as well. That sounds backwards, but it's not. If you've been listening to the show the last few weeks, you've heard us explain that in depth. If you have questions, call or text us at 214-310-0008. That's the Todd Tramonte home selling team, 214-310-0008. Or you can always find us online at overunderagent.com, because we guarantee to sell your home over the average price and under the average time, overunderagent.com. I got tons of stories to tell you today about how we are breaking all-time sales records in neighborhoods all across the Metroplex. We'll get to that here in a minute. Just know that it's true, and it could be you. If you're thinking about selling, if you're wanting to sell, if you're wanting to check your opportunity and see what your house might sell for, you can go get an automated estimate in less than 60 seconds at valuethishouse.com. Valuethishouse.com, automated estimate of your value in less than 60 seconds. Or if you know you're thinking about selling, just go right ahead and go over to overunderagent.com, enter your basic info, and then in the comments, just let us know, thinking about selling this fall, thinking about selling early next year. I want to sell, but I'm only going to sell if I can buy XYZ. You know, tell us your situation. We'll have the right person on our team get connected with you and see if we can help you put together a game plan to get that done now, later, or whatever is best for you.
Let's give the people a market update, an overall market update of not just selling, but also buying. You did just mention that it's a great time to buy, great opportunity to do that. Very strange market in that sense. Election right around the corner. It's hard to believe, but the holidays right around the corner after that. And so give us an update where we're at, what you expect the rest of the year.
Let me say this clearly and distinctively. This is buying season. Woo! That's right. Woo! This is buying season. If you're a buyer, you should be excited. You should be wooing all over the place. Now, here's the deal.
Not just wooing. You should be wooing.
Got it. Just to be clear. Here's the thing. It's a hard time to buy. So what the heck are you talking about, Tramonte? You just said it's buying season. You just said you should be excited, and now you're telling me it's hard. Yes, all of that is true. But for the next 60 to 90 days, it will be easier than it's been for the last 10 and a half years.
Okay, I like that.
And for probably after that, the next 8 or 9 more months until probably this time next year. Now, here's the reason. There's some uncertainty in the market right now for sellers. There's a lot of sellers. We're getting this question. Should I wait until after the election? Should I hurry to get this done before the election? Are interest rates going to go up? I don't know what's going on with the stock market, right? Is COVID going to crash the market right now? Should I wait till after COVID? Should I try to sell real quickly before cold and flu season? These are all very real questions that are being asked right now. Here's what I can tell you. At this moment, interest rates are at the lowest they've ever been for any buyer who's alive right now. That's just the case, unless you have credit issues or some other borrowing challenges, which is true for some people. That's okay. But for right now, you have the best borrowing opportunity of your life for a mortgage, 9 out of 10 people, right? Home values are on the rise and at the moment have every indication, factual, market momentum, feeling of local experts that they will continue to rise for the long foreseeable future. My political belief, it doesn't matter who I am for or against, but my belief is that politics, both major parties have a strong, deep-seated, vested interest in a booming, healthy residential real estate market. The residential real estate market is one of, if not the primary driver of local economies, and local economies add up to make the national economy. It's just kind of the way it works, right? So if people are buying, selling houses and getting new jobs and buying furniture and, decorating houses and paying utility bills and paying property taxes, that's good for the economy. And that's happening in a very big way in our market. So I don't think Donald Trump or Joe Biden or anybody else wants to do anything that would have significant impact in a negative way on the residential market. So therefore, either elected party, regardless of elected party, our local real estate market should continue to be strong. By all means, over the long haul, certain parties make certain decisions and affect people's buying power and employment and things. But for the long foreseeable future, our market should stay really strong. So if you're a seller, the big mistake you could make right now is rushing into this with any agent, any time of the year, with any strategy. You're probably going to leave a bunch of money on the table. We're seeing a lot of sellers do that. The big mistake buyers could make is rushing into this without a great strategy, without a great agent, without a great plan, because in that scenario, you're likely to be in a competitive situation without planning ahead. The only way to win there is to outpay somebody, and you're going to end up overpaying. With the right agent who can create a custom strategy for your buy side, a custom strategy for your sell side, custom to this market, this time, this situation, You can sell higher than has ever been sold, and buy well. I'm not going to say buy lower than has ever been bought. That's not happening. But you can buy strategically. You can buy well. You can borrow well. You can leverage well. And you can get into a great home right now. Go to overunderagent.com if you're ready to do that, or go to overunderagent.com if you simply want to start to ask some of those questions to get ready to do that at any point in the next couple of years. Overunderagent.com.
Well, we've shared stories recently, right, of just some amazing opportunities that we've been able to get our buyer clients. And again, it wasn't that we got them a cheap home or something like that, but we got them a deal on a house that they would never, ever expect.
Tens of thousands of dollars off of a really great home, or a great home that they otherwise shouldn't have been able to get because it wasn't available. But before we tell you a couple of quick stories about sellers in the current market. And the reason we do that is so you know that it's possible. I don't want you to be swindled by the Dallas Morning News, Fort Worth Star Telegram, some other radio host or TV host that isn't in this business, right? They're reading some stats and trying to give you a loud, crazy, exciting headline so you'll read or watch. My name's Todd Tramonte, and I run the Todd Tramonte home selling team. I run Market Experts Realty. I run a coaching and consulting company to real estate agents all over the country. This is what we do all day long, every day. And then we pop out for a little bit on Saturday and talk to you about it here on the radio, right? But what we do all day, every day is residential real estate, training agents, working with clients, helping people buy and sell and solve problems. So when I give you this report, this is what's happening out there, okay? So we tell you these stories so that you know what's true and what is realistic, what's achievable for you. I also tell you these stories because I'm so dang proud of this team that I get to work with here on the Todd Tramonte home selling team. 15 years ago, I was the only agent. Every buyer, every seller worked with me. And I think I did a pretty good job, but I didn't do anywhere near as good of a job as the agents we have on the team now, or the support staff we have on the team now, with the expertise and the media and the strategy and philosophy that we have now. I'm so dang proud of them that I tell you the stories so that you know how great they are, but also so that you know what's possible for you.
All right, let's get into a couple of these stories because I got four for you, okay? And I'm not going to tell you the one yet that was mind-blowing to all of us. We're not going to get to that one yet. Sneak peek in the team, though. When we have a good story, a great story, we refer to it as a rhino bacon story. Okay,
that's going to be hard to explain.
It is, but there's a great book called The Rhinoceros Success. That's where the rhino comes from. And let's be honest, we all love bacon, so we keep it at that.
We have an inter-office messaging system, and we ask people to report success. Those are our trophies. Like, hey, I just got my client such and such. Hey, my client just got this house this much below market. And there's little emojis, little symbols you can respond with. And I started for a long time. I would put a rhino on there, and people are like, what are you doing? And it was like rhinoceros success. We just crush problems and crush obstacles and run right through them. And then I was adding the bacon because it was like a delicious solution. It's an amazing solution.
So I say that because I'm looking at a page of stories with a bunch of rhino bacon on it. So
And bacon could be bringing home the bacon.
Hey, yo. Hey.
What? So all that to say, there you go. There's a sneak peek into the team and the rhino bacon success that we have. Here's a couple of stories from that John Kanika on our team, listing extraordinaire, marketing extraordinaire John Kanika had. One home was in Cedar Hills, and that home went under contract in one day, and it went for $15,000 over what we were asking for it. But wait, there's more. And the buyer of the property was paying the seller's title insurance.
Time out, though, Ian. All the media keeps telling me that the coronavirus has wrecked our local economy and it's wrecked the housing market. Mm-hmm. So obviously you're lying.
Yeah, I am. I'm a liar.
John, there's no way in Cedar Hill, Dallas, that John is selling a nice house in one day for $15,000 over market average. That's not possible if the housing market has been ravaged by COVID.
No, you're right. I'm a liar, and I'm going to lie to you again because we had one in McKinney that John was working with, and that one in the particular subdivision that it was in sold at $375,000, which was the highest sales price ever in that subdivision. But again, I'm a liar.
This John guy is a big-time liar.
He's all right.
Listen, I'm exaggerating the point because it is true. If you watch the wrong news and read the wrong papers, you're reading and watching attention-getting headlines based on obscure, factual, occasionally borderline factual statistics, right? This market is crazy town right now if you're a seller. Now, a lot of sellers are still leaving money on the table. Not if they're working with John Kanika on the Todd Tramonte home selling team, though. We're talking about people making, 2+ figures extra over and above $10,000, $15,000. He's got stories of $30,000 and $42,000 over the average price, all over from Cedar Hill up to McKinney and all sorts of places in between. So, we joke around on our team that John Kanika, he has this crazy mythical ability to just absolutely obliterate all-time high sales prices.
Because if you ever talk to John, he's the most subdued, calm, humble, gently spoken guy, and he is a ninja.
Yeah, when it comes to sale prices, he just laughs in their face and goes and gets $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 more than anyone with a similar house in the same neighborhood has ever gotten. It's crazy. We get calls from neighbors a lot that are like, okay, I just saw what y'all did over there. Please come do our house. I don't care what happened. Just come do the same thing.
You may call him an ice skating ninja. And then we'll have to, if you want more details on that, you can reach out to us.
That's gonna be hard to leave that one hanging. What else you got over there?
All right. This was a question that somebody asked me, and they just said, "Hey, look, our home's worth probably about $300,000. We've got about $10,000, maybe $15,000 that we can put into the home. Mm-hmm. Where do we even begin with that? I know we've touched on a few things to do earlier, but if someone's been that specific, I've got $10,000. Yep. Where do you even begin?
The first thing we do is we eliminate the negatives. We spoke earlier in the show about how human psychology tends to, not everyone, but most people starts with negative, and it's an advertent or inadvertent. It's a deliberate or accidental a process of elimination, right? Get rid of the bad and we'll choose from what's left over, right? And so if you walk into a house and it's beautiful, but it stinks, you're going to remember the smell more than anything, right? So we're going to one of our marketing specialists take a pass through that house with you and say, hey, everything's great. The two things that stood out as the most problematic for me are this room over here has a color that was super popular, in 1995. It's become a way to date the house. So let's get that painted. And then you've got some pretty badly cracked tile on the floor in the kitchen, right? Something like that, right? So let's get rid of the negatives. Obviously, we're going to replace them with positives. So let's connect with our in-house stager and figure out what color buyers are most responsive to currently, and we'll paint that room that color. And then what flooring surface is most attractive to buyers? What are they paying the most for fastest? And let's look at replacing those floors with that. Then let's see what budget you have where we could get more than $1 back for you to spend $1. Because if we can't get more than $1 back and it's not a negative, then we might just not need to do that at all. That might be something where you're like, hey man, you guys have this great grill in the backyard and you have this great grilling table. What would you think about kind of formalizing that into a full-on outdoor kitchen? You can enjoy it for the next 30 or 45 days while we're pending because it's not going to take long to sell. And then we will have created this outdoor square footage, this outdoor living space that we could probably get you $2 to $3 back for every dollar you spend. Hey, can we put in some fall and winter hardy landscaping in the front yard for maybe $1,000 that might make a buyer that much more excited to pay 1 or 2% more for your $300,000 or $400,000 home?
If you do not know what your home is currently worth, jump over to valuethishouse.com. In less than 60 seconds, you'll be able to get an automated valuation of what it would sell for, what it would rent for. And you can do that over at valuethishouse.com. If you want something a little bit more custom, just reply to the email that you're going to get and just say, I'd like a more custom valuation, and we will reach out and do that.
time out real quick. Okay, so someone's gone to valuethishouse.com. They filled out their stuff. They're like, wow, computer already knew my bedrooms and bathrooms and square footage. And they went in and chose the condition. Very good, whatever. Submitted it. Boom. 5 seconds later, they got an email. They're reading it. And they're like, okay, it says my house is worth $357, $489. But the confidence score was like 86%. So they want that detailed valuation. All right?
Yep.
Let's tell them what that actually is. What's that detailed valuation, right? So why don't you start us off, and then I'll add some detail to that, and then we can move on to the next question. But I think sometimes people need to know what's the difference in that automated and what a detailed valuation would look like.
Yeah, so first of all, you're going to get a phone call. Either myself or one of our marketing specialists will reach out to you either that day or at least within 24 to 48 hours, depending on what's going on during the weekend or whatever's happening. We'll reach out to you because we want to have a quick conversation with you, learn a little bit more about the situation that you're in, learn a little bit more about the condition of your home, what's making it more unique, some of the things that really stand out to you. So we're going to ask you all of those questions. And then as a team, we are going to begin to look at not just the quote comps, but we're going to obviously there's a part of as we're trying to establish what is the right price for your home. We obviously will look at the comparables of what's sold in your neighborhood, but we're also going to do a much deeper dive into the area that you're in. Is things moving in? Have things moved out? Like, what's the condition? What's unique? Like, we're going to begin to piece it all together to create a really detailed, customized pricing strategy and marketing strategy that we can sit down and explain to you.
Well, and we're going to factor in the local economic condition, the local mortgage rates, seasonality of the market, development. If you're in a neighborhood and they just announced that they're putting in a brand new landfill behind your neighborhood, that's not going to show up on comparable sales data, but it's going to factor into what a buyer's willing to pay for your house now. If they just announced that they're going to rip up the front of everyone's houses and put in a new water, a big water main underneath the road or the sidewalk, that's happened to me before selling my own house. If a hailstorm tears through tonight, right? All these things are going to impact the value of your home, whether you like it or not. But the old 1972 version of valuing a house where it's just 3 similar homes in the area, that's inadequate. Yep. It's not good enough. So when you ask us for a deep dive full valuation beyond the automated version, we're going to start factoring in all those things. Now, as you move towards potentially selling your home or refinancing, that's when we might bring in second, third, fourth agent on our team and do a full-on valuation session where it's almost like a court case. People are defending their opinion of value and picking at each other and saying, well, what about the landfill? Well, what about low interest rates?
Yep.
Well, what about the new tax law? Well, what about the widening of the road? Like all these things. Okay. And then as a group, settling in on a really accurate, super legitimate valuation.
And once we have that initial phone conversation, we'll establish where you're at in that process for what it's going to look like for you. Because the reality is, as we begin to get deeper into it and further along, we're going to be spending 90 minutes to 2 hours preparing to give you all of the information that we can. You can go on and get a 60-second automated valuation, but when you say, hey, I want something more custom because I think I think I want to sell in the next 4 to 8 weeks, we're going to spend a couple hours making sure that we get you all of that information.
People. Yep. And we're thrilled to do it. But you feel free to use the automated version if you're not there yet. ValueThisHouse.com.
Okay, I've got to get this story in, okay? So here we go. We had 2 homes that went on the market recently, okay? Mm-hmm. Both executed the same weekend, okay? Right. That's great.
Average market days, 30 to 40 days. Both of them happened within 3.
Yes. One of them went for a full price offer. One of them, when it was listed at $300, it went under contract at $308. And it wasn't a conventional loan. It was actually an FHA loan. And what we had never ever seen before with the FHA loan buyer was they committed and agreed to bring any extra cash for an appraisal that came in under what it went on the market at. We'd never, ever seen that before. And that was amazing negotiation from Jeremy on our team. Right. He has just been doing that day in, day out for people. His last 7 contracts that he has executed, Todd, have a guess. How many days total? 7 contracts.
Okay. So let me explain this to people really quick. Jeremy put 7 homes on the market for 7 different sellers in 7 different places, right? For our market average right now, the average days on market would be around 245 days, about 35 days-ish per. And so we're at about 10 times faster than the market average is what we've been telling people.
Yep.
So just based on those statistics, that would be what, 24 and a half days?
Yeah.
What was the number?
24.
We're not making this stuff up.
No, we can show you. We can literally show you all this.
The multiple listing system data. What? I literally, we did not prep that. I knew the number, but I was doing the math in my head. That's correct, right? 35 times 7 is 210 plus 35, 245. Yeah. Anyway, it's so much fun for that to be true.
Yeah,
it's
amazing.
So much fun to be able to brag on. Like I said, when I was the only agent helping all the buyers and sellers, I was good. I'm not going to have a bunch of false modesty, but I wasn't that good. I wasn't. I was doing too many different things. Jeremy and John are focused on sellers all day long. Mari and Leah and Brandon and David and Ryan are focused on buyers only all day. Mason's focused on our media, our communication, our radio, our video. Ian is focused on our agents, on our team, supporting them, equipping them, making sure that your transactions go really, really well. Robert is dedicated to our messaging, our creativity, and our sellers. Elizabeth is dedicated to our current and past clients. We have such specialization that these results can become normal for us, but they're not normal out in the real estate market. If you are thinking about selling a home or, of course, buying, you need to go to overunderagent.com right now, or you can call us at 214-310-0008, or feel free to text us at 214-310-0008, and you can say as little as, I want to be one of those success stories. I want you to tell my crazy record-breaking story on the radio, right? I'd be happy to have some of our friends in radio interview you, and they can tell your story on radio. But I would love for you to be one of these success stories. I would love for you to walk away with an extra $35,000 or $45,000 in your pocket when you sell your home. I would love for you to buy a home right now and actually get the home you want below market value. We guarantee we'll get you at least $5,000 worth of savings throughout the purchase process of the home, and lately it's been a lot more than that. We are legitimately selling homes almost 9% over the average price and 10 times faster than the average sale. Head over to overunderagent.com. That's overunderagent.com. Call or text 214-310-0008, and we'll catch you next week with more Texas real estate on WBAP.